Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Ma'am Anissa Astrid as our lecturer and all of my beloved friends. First of all, let's say a lot of thanks to our God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who always give us grace, guidance, and blessing so that we can gather in this video with healthy condition. Also, salawat and salutation are delivered to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness into the brightness of today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are from Group Seminar Research Proposal. So today we would like to tell you about our material. But before it, let us introduce ourselves. Hello, my name is Farinur Sohaini as a moderator for today. And after that, our members, there are Maharani Kusuma Putri, Dini Lorenza, Ulan Nuria Harampi. And the last is Birlandia Seven Trinanda. So let's start from the how to write a research background. So when you want to write a research background, let's start to write first the phenomenon in the field, and second the previous studies. So from that things you can make your research background. I mean that in the first you should find the phenomenon in the field. As you can know, phenomenon is something happens in the environment. So if you have find something happens in the environment and you get the idea, you have so many information about that environment, so many information about that things, you can get your idea to write your research background. Or on the other word, you can say that you can get your idea from your observations, from your survey, from your interview, based on the environment that you have observed. So why I tell you that you should find first find it to the from the phenomenon, because from the phenomenon we can make our research title, and after that you can get so many information from that. So phenomenon in the field is your first step to write the research background, and after that the previous studies. Yes, there are so many previous studies that we have that you can see in our in the journal website. So from that previous study we can read so many information and we can make the differences from the first previous studies and after that from the second previous studies. So from that you can think that what should you do, what should you write in your research background. So don't forget to find first about the phenomenon in the field and after that about the previous studies. Well, I have tell you about the phenomenon and the previous study, and now let's start from how to write the research background. Okay, the first step, if you want to write the research background, you should describe your research topic. So there are so many topics that you can take, and you can take it from the phenomenon and after that from the previous studies. So after you have observed your phenomenon and after that you have find the previous studies and you make the differences. So the first step, if you want to write the research background, is you should describe the research topic. So after you get the idea and you know your topic, you can write the research background. So when you describe the research topic, there are so many research topic that you can get, right? Yeah. And as the researcher, we are as the researchers should know why we choose the topic. Maybe there is the interesting things, or there is the main factor is there is an interesting thing why we choose the topic. So from that, we can start to from choose the variable that you want to be able to make it to your topic. So yeah, first you should describe your topic from your phenomenon that you have observed, or from the previous studies that you have found, and you make the differences from that. Well, the second step is you should identify what problems exist in your research topic. So if you want to write your research background, first you should describe your research topic, and after that you should identify you should identify what problems exist in your research topic. So if you have identified, it's easy for you to write your research background. So when you want to identify your problems in your research topics, it will make you easier to write your research backgrounds. But remember, when you want to identify the problems in your research topic, do not pick an object that not rise a problem. So because we are find a problem here, so we should find something unusual happens in that object, right? Because you want to research, so we would like to that we are a researcher and we should research the topic. So don't pick an object that there is no problems in the object. So because we should find problems in that object. That if you have determined if you have identified your research problems, it means that you will know what will you do after that.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Maharani Kesuma Putri with ID student number 2020-205018. I'm going to continue the material. In writing a research background, after we know the weaknesses of the previous studies, the next step is to make assumptions. The definition of assumptions are opinions based on events as a basis for searching or formulating problem in a study. This assumption can be said to be personal opinion, both subjective and objective, but must be based on events or data. An assumption is a set condition so that the scope of the research is clear. Assumptions can also be a limitation of the system where we conduct research. According to some expert, his name is Tejo Yuwono Noto Hadi Prawiro, assumptions are defined as an intellectual background of line of thought. Assumptions are primitive ideas, or ideas without the support needed to support other ideas that will emerge later. And the definition of basic assumption is something that is believed to be true by a researcher that must be formulated clearly. According other expert, his name is Winarno Surahmat, basic assumptions or postulates are a starting point of thought whose truth is accepted by investigators or researchers. A researcher can formulate different basic assumptions. There are three types of assumptions: an axiom, postulate, and the premise is this, guys. The first, an axiom, namely a statement that is generally agreed upon without the need for proof because its truth has already been proven alone. For example, the whole is greater than its parts. Second, postulate, namely a statement that requires general approval without any evidence or a fact that should be accepted as it is. Postulates are usually put forward to equate the meaning of a term or expression in an argument. While a discussion about a certain issue is being held, for example, the lack of student learning motivation is an important factor that encourages students laziness to learn Arabic. And the third type, the premise is this, guys, in a first or second order entity. The first order entity is a syllogism from which is the first argument is implied, a syllogism in which the implied companion or intermediary base is an entity of the second order. And the importance of making assumptions. First, so that there is a solid foundation for the problem being studied. Second, to emphasize the variables that are the center of attention. Third, in order to determine and formulate hypotheses. For a quantitative research background, we should first outline the background, create the main idea for each paragraph. We can create 5 main ideas for 5 background paragraphs. The following is an example of the steps for creating a background for quantitative correlational research. First, define a topic and title. Second, create a frame of mind by determining the main idea or main idea for each paragraph. Third, place the paper's title's primary concept in the final paragraph. For instance, the title of this article is The Relationship Between Reading Interest and Learning Achievement of Indonesian Children. Then we can start the background with the following outline. First, education in Indonesia. Second, literacy level in Indonesia. Third, children's reading interest. Fourth, measure of learning achievement. Fifth, the relationship between reading interest and learning achievement. And the sixth, research gap. As for the background of qualitative research, it is necessary to emphasize the phenomena in the field that will be explored in more depth. Next, writing a research problems, a research objective, and significance. Okay, next, problem limitations. Making problem limitation is based on considerations, namely the intent and attention of the researcher, the available materials, and the complexity of the basic assumptions and field studies carried out, and the identification and formulation of the problem, then formulated the research questions. Problem limitation is a limitation on the scope of a problem so that the discussion that we are going to do isn't too far, and widen it with the aim that the discussion that we discuss is focused on just one research. So, problem limitation functions. The function of the problem limitation is as follows. First, to help identify issues to be discussed. Second, focus on one problem. Third, limit the range of processes to be covered. Fourth, generates a problem that is solved. Fifth, what description will be discussed in this research, experiment, or problem solving. And then, research problem. The problem formulation contains several sections, ranging from why to how questions, which relate to the research topic. The problem formulation is a short essay containing questioning about the topic raised by the author. So, with the formulation of the problem, the author tries to find answer to the question raised. Okay, that's all about writing a research background. After we make research background, the next step, we must make research problem, a research objective, and significance. These are includes problem limitation, research problem, research objective, and so on. First, problem limitation. Making problem limitation is based on considerations, namely the intent and attention of the researcher, the available materials, and the complexity of the basic assumptions and field studies carried out, and the identification and formulation of the problem then formulated the research questions. The function of the problem limitations is as follows. First, help identify issues to be discussed. Second, focus on one problem. Third, limit the range of processes to be covered. Fourth, generate a problem that is solved. Fifth, what description will be discussed in this research, experiment, or problem solving? Things to look for in making problem limitations. The following are things that must be considered in making problem limitations, including: first, limitations of the problem should be according to the ability of researchers. Second, adjust the problem limitations with data and facts obtained from the field. Third, first examine all the problem limitations of the problem to be determined. And fourth, the defined problem limitation should have a special appeal for researchers and those who will enjoy the results of the research. Okay, I think that's all about my explanation. The next material about research problem will be explained by my partner, to Firlandia Seventrinanda. Time is yours. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Firlandia Seventrinanda with study number 2020-2020-5021. Okay, next material I will explain about research problem. So, the problem formulating is a short essay containing questions about the topic raised by the other to find answer to them. Simply, a research problem is a statement about area of correct condition to be improved, a difficulty to be eliminated or filling the gap in the literature. There can be so many different reasons formulating a research problem. For example, there is some sort of the problem you want to solve it, so you need a research problem. There are needs, there is a condition and you want to improve through the condition, so that is also a research problem. There is some gap in the literature review and you are going to filling the gap. That will also give rise to the research. The problem formulating is a short essay containing questions about the topic raised by other using question, words such why and how to open up opportunity for in-depth research. It contains short, choice and start word question, research follow and guidance in conducting research activities. Okay, next material about research objective. Research aims in the creation of a statement that demonstrates the outcomes of something to be assigned of or investigated. Research objective must be variant to the identified problem, formulating and research method. research objective describe what your research is trying to achieve and explain why you are pursuing it. They summarize the approach and purpose of your project and help to focus your research. How to write research aims and objective. Step 1. Based on the general aims. Step 2. Based on specific objectives. And step 3. Formulate your aims and objectives. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sulan Nuria Haranti with student ID number 2020-5030. So, my material is, first is qualitative objective statement. So, generally, qualitative purpose statement include information about the primary phenomena investigated, research participants, and research settings. So, I will explain sort of things that the objective of qualitative research might also include a description of the chosen research design. This aim should be expressed in words borrowed from the language of qualitative research. So, a qualitative objective is subjective and non-measurable. For example, if a teacher has an objective to get many of her students to understand beginning M and S sounds, then she has defined a qualitative objective. Is many half the class, or is it 3/4 of the class? How do you know for sure when they have understood the concept of beginning M and S sounds? When they identify them one time or 20 times, there is no way to accurately measure this objective. So, the second material is about quantitative research objectives. The objective of quantitative research involve the variable employed in the study as well as the link between these factors, the participant, and the location of research. The purpose of quantitative research usually begins with identifying the main variable in the study. So, a quantitative objective is measurable. Some objectives, like task objectives, need to be measurable so that we can tell if they have been met. For example, if a teacher has an objective for 90% of her students to identifying the beginning M and S sounds, like I told before in qualitative objective explanation. So if a teacher has an objective for 90% of her students to identifying the beginning M and S sounds with 75% accuracy on the next quiz, she has defined a quantitative objective. There is a measurable way to see if the objective has been met. I think that's all for my explanation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Dina Lorenza with student ID number 2020-5034. Well, I will explain about objective of mixed method research. Research objectives. The mixed methods contain the overall research objectives. Information on quantitative and qualitative research elements. And reasons or rationalization to mix the two elements to examine the research problem. The purpose of mixed method research is usually indicated first. In the introduction, to provide an initial guide for readers in understanding the quantitative and qualitative parts of research within it. In the following, I present some instruction and how to structure and present the research objectives of the mixed method. First, Start by writing words that clearly indicate the purpose of the research to describe, such as purpose or means. Second, explain the purpose of the study from a context perspective, such as the goal is to study organizational effectiveness, or the goal is to observe stepchild families. To understand the overall intent of the study first before the researchers divide his research into quantitative and qualitative sections. Third, indicate the type of mixed method design used, whether it is sequential, concurrent, or transformational. And the last, explain the rationale and rationalization combined with quantitative and qualitative data. The purpose of quantitative and qualitative research, or mixed method purpose statement, contains the overall research objectives, the aspect of qualitative and quantitative research are discussed, the reason or rationalization for mixing the two elements to examine the research problem. Typically, the objective of mixed method research is stated first in the introduction to give the reader with a foundational grasp of the quantitative and qualitative components. And the next slide, research significance. Research significance is a description of the usefulness of research results, both for the benefit of program development and development of science. Research significance. The significance of the study is a section in the introduction of your thesis or paper. Its purpose is to make clear study was needed and the specific contribution why your research made to furthering to academic knowledge in your field. There are two types of research benefits. Types of research benefits. First, theoretical or academic. Theoretical benefits are part of the explanation related to the benefits of research from the theoretical aspects, namely the benefits of research for the development of science. And second, practical or applicative. Practical benefits are the benefits of research result from practical or applicable aspects, namely research benefits for program aimed at students, the government, and the community.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's all of our presentations for today. Thank you so much for your great attention. Bila saya say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.